writer's block comes when have a long period of not producing anything. And I think just being able to put something out all the time prevents my brain from like getting to that point. When we did John Wayne, that song was really a struggle. But once we actually like found a melody, it just started to happen, and it's kind of just snowballed from there. But it just gets easier and easier as we keep doing it.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Catscan podcast for Unlikely Places Pop and Rock Radio here on Anchor, Spotify, all those great places. So we're going to be talking about Catscan today. We're here with Mason and Paul. I knew Paul first, and then I met Mason, and Mason Scan, as you might recognize, is our editor. So you get to hear his voice, the guy that edits. I want to thank Owen Radford for the thumbnails as well. And guys, we have merch on robojackrecords.com. But right now, your focus is on this podcast here with Catscan. All right, guys, listen closely and learn something new.
Aloha, this is Jeff Cotton of Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band.
Hi, this is Terry Draper from Class 2.
Hey, this is Paul Chastain.
Hey, what's up? This is Thomas Ian Nicholas of Rookie of the Year, American Pie.
I'm Brendan O'Hare. I used to be in today's fan club.
Vic from Star Collector.
Dana Troy.
Owen Radford.
This is Josh Bradley.
Hey, this is Mason.
And Paul of Catscan.
Paul Collins of The Nerves.
I'm Frankie Siragusa, and you're tuning in to Unlikely Places Pop and Rock Radio Show with Final Man Jeb.
Let's just have a chat down here.
You're listening to Mad Wasp Radio.
Ow! I'm here with Catscan. Hey, guys.
Hey, good morning.
Morning. Yeah, it's afternoon where I am, but good morning to the whole world.
Yeah.
In the East Coast here. It's actually technically morning. I know it's noon, but it still feels like I just woke up.
Really
so
it might not even be morning here.
I was gonna say, you guys are on the East Coast with me, aren't you? You guys are, so it's almost 1. It's almost 1. We got the time here, guys.
Morning for me.
But actually, I'm stuck inside the internet. I shouldn't know what time it is. That's how they're running the show now. It's been like stuck inside a Mystery Science Theater style thing. But I wanted to ask you guys, and I got both of you. I got Paul and I got Mason here today of Catscan. I wanted to just straight up ask you. I ask all my guests this, so maybe I'll do a compilation of all of them answering this. What got you into music, guys?
Basically, band class. I mean, we started in band class. I played the euphonium in elementary school. Ooh. Which, for those who don't know, looks like a small tuba, but sounds like a trombone. And I started in 5th grade. So,
yeah, and I think it was probably around the year 2000. So we're talking about a long time ago. We started to think back what our motivations were as elementary school kids, but I think it had something to do with maybe getting some girlfriends.
For starting the band. Maybe that was the original purpose, but it didn't work.
Yeah, I think it just seemed like a good vehicle for our crazy friendship and ideas.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And so you guys have been writing songs for a while then, since the 2000s, so you kept it going. Who does majority of the writing, or do you guys kind of bounce back and forth?
It's pretty evenly split.
Yeah, it's about 50-50.
Do you guys have like a certain sound? Like, we know who's writing what? Is there like a certain, because I know the Beatles, you could tell like when John was writing a song or when Paul was writing, you had like a certain flow to it. Didn't you guys have that kind of thing? Or is it kind of like we are Catscan and it just all sounds like Catscan?
I guess on one hand, it's hard. If you ask Paul McCartney that question, would he have an answer? I don't know.
Right. I don't know. Like, that's a good question.
It's hard to tell from yourself what makes your own songs different from the other guy. But I think we do a lot of collaborations I think blur lines in terms of whose song it is.
Yeah, and I think you hear more in our inspiration, like who our favorite bands are. So, Mason's like a huge Residence fan, so you get that kind of vibe sometimes. And I'm like, there's like a lot of Koji Kondo in my music, who basically did all the Nintendo music.
Oh, cool. So, okay.
Every once in a while.
Very cool. I hear a lot of like Zappa like put into the future. Like if Zappa was in like a time capsule in the future. I don't know. I feel like if it was that's what I hear in your guys' music. I love it though. And I love how different you guys are. Like every release is different, I like that it changes too.
We jump around a lot.
Yeah. Which is awesome. It means that you're not stuck to just one flow of thing or something, hey, this is what we're doing and we're stuck on this. I love seeing artists that really, define their own genre, and it's pretty cool.
dinosaur. Way back when Earth was young, we lived among those noble beasts. We lived at peace with dinosaurs. Behemoth and Leviathan and the dragons, they roamed the fields for real, and it was very good. Found them and gave them names and made them tame. It was a paradise of man and dinosaur. Lord, give me a home where the Brontosaurus roam. Lord, please close my mind to science, the bane of mankind. Way back when Earth was young, we lived among those noble beasts. We lived at peace with dinosaurs. Behemoth and Leviathan and the dragon, they roamed the field for real, and it was very good. Found them and gave them names and made them tame. It was a paradise of man and dinosaur.
You know, it says in the book of Rachel that Jesus rode a velociraptor at the right hand of God.
Back when Earth was young, back when Earth was young, those noble beasts lived at peace with dinosaurs. Peace with dinosaurs. Fireman and the dragon, they roamed the dragons for real, and it was very good. Times for them, and it was very good. Found them and made them tames. It was a paradise of man and dinosaur.
So I wanted to go into, how did you guys form? Other than, I see you guys were in school, but was there any other reason other than just the girls? But how did you guys form, like become Catscan officially?
The day when we thought, okay, now we're a band, was because we had recorded something. You know, we were hanging out, and I think we just, I don't know who owned. I guess I owned that little keyboard, the little Casio.
You own the little keyboard, and I owned. Well, actually, I didn't own, but we had a tape deck that was my grandma's that we recorded on. I still have it, actually.
Yeah, so I think the act of getting together and actually putting songs to tape was what.
I think we recorded our entire first album in like maybe an hour,
something like that,
like 2 hours tops.
We had written out like all the lyrics in advance, and we just kind of made up the music and mostly kind of just used, like Casio keyboards have like a preset where like, you hit pop rock and then you turn accompaniment on, and then when you hit like the C, it plays like a chord progression in the key of C.
Yeah.
So that we just would do that and then make up lyrics around that. Yeah. That was made up the first 5 years of music for us.
It was very rough.
Yeah.
Well, it was fun, and I think it's definitely a precursor. There we go. Trying to think of words here. Precursor to what you guys became, which is taking those inspirations from the early days, and definitely what I hear in the music is just fun. You guys are just having fun, which you don't hear a lot of bands doing lately. A lot of bands, it's always tight, things, but they do say they have fun, live. But it's cool to hear like recordings of studio bands going, yeah, we actually had fun recording this,
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask about yeah. I also wanted to ask about SONGO. I'm very fascinated by this project. I read up on a little bit of what you sent me. And I wanted to ask like what inspired the project and doing a song every month. So what inspired that?
Well, I think it came partly from just wanting to, when we, let's see, this is actually the second iteration of this project. When we came back, like I said, we've been together for a long time. we kind of took a little break when we went off to school and like college. And when we came back, we had to kind of refigure out how to do stuff, and we needed new material. And we thought, this exercise could be a good way to encourage ourselves to put out a lot of stuff and just to write a lot more stuff. And that way also make us less precious about things. I think if every time you sit down to write a song, you're trying to think, oh, this has got to be the best thing I've ever done. It can be a real blocker in terms of getting the creative juices going. So this way, it's like there's always a deadline. There's always a spotlight coming up on one of our songs, which is fun. It's almost like to me, it kind of feels like we're in every production of the album writing process at the same time, which is really fun because otherwise, our last album took 3 or 4 years to do.
Yeah.
So you're in the mixing process for like months, and it's just it can be a drag. But this way, you got to get it done in a couple of days.
We're less precious about it, and we brought it back this time, obviously for the pandemic, because we can't play a lot of live shows. I mean, we haven't really played any, so it's just a way to get something out there that's not as much pressure as recording an entire album. And it gets us writing music again.
Yeah, definitely albums are tough. They take away from that, just like, oh, I go in there. As I finally discovered studio myself, and I realized after a while, you go in and you're like, you have 6 songs ready, for example, or even more. I had 12 because I was, an album. And I get in there and the producer, we're working on 1 song for the two times I went in there. And I was like, yeah, goodbye to the 12. This is why a lot of bands only do EPs now. There's no more albums, or the single game, which is cool to see. The reason why you guys are doing the singles is for a reason. It's not just, we're just releasing singles to release singles. You actually have like a reason for them behind that, is that you want to keep your creativity juices going, which I think is amazing. And I always find myself...
And we're not rich.
Yeah, well, the studio is ridiculous expensive now. It's crazy.
Yeah, we could never afford that.
Yeah, and now we have home studios. Like I have a Focus right here that I'm actually recording for the podcast as well, but I have it synced up with my guitar, my microphone with a boom mic stand. You know what? Cakewalk is free for Windows. It's one of the coolest things I've ever discovered. And yeah, it took me a long time to learn, but I have the willing to learn, and I'm saving a ton of money. It's crazy. It's crazy. Even big name artists now are doing a lot of home studio stuff because they had to build one during the pandemic too. So it's like we indie artists were ahead of the curve, and then all of a sudden now the curve was like the indie artists are like, what's next? What do we do next? And I think projects like this might catch on. You might inspire other people to just kind of, I took a class on writing, and they said to just write one thing, a song a month or even a song a week. This is pretty cool to actually write, record, and produce and release. And, get some airplay on Unlikely Places here as well, because we're going to spin Jackie Weaver for you.
Awesome.
Tell me about that one. Tell me about the debut of this. I'm very excited to be debuting this. Tell me about that song.
It is a little less relevant now because there was this YouTube video that was going around of this, I guess, British church parish group that were trying to communicate over Zoom. And there was all this these politics that were showing up, but it was also, there was this undertone of frustration with these old people trying to use the Zoom.
Oh, that's perfect what we were talking about earlier. That's funny. Oh, wow.
It did capture the kind of the lifestyle we had all kind of had to adapt to, which is like working remotely and interacting remotely, and just the process of learning that was difficult for everybody, and it was perfectly represented by this video. And I think that's kind of what we tried to put into the song.
Hello again, never thought I'd get in, Jackie Weaver. Before we start, I have some words to impart, Jackie Weaver. Should our concerns be heard without you kicking us out, Jackie Weaver? Jackie Weaver. Hello again, let this meeting begin, Jackie Weaver. At our last mood, you gave me the boot, Jackie Weaver. Charter set in stone, the chairman's not home. You have no authority here, Jackie Weaver. at the wall, Jackie Weaver. This meeting's called, we've got a problem to solve, Jackie Weaver. Her actions are illicit, you all are complicit. The voice chairman is here, Jackie Weaver. Jackie Weaver. Show some respect, Mr. Chairman-elect, Jackie Weaver. That's a laugh, she just cut his mic off, Jackie Weaver. There was an example, an itty-bitty sample of things here in Cheshire East, Jackie Weaver. Jackie Weaver. Jackie Weaver. Jackie Weaver.
It's hard not to write about the pandemic,
Yeah.
just because we're in it, and it's so it just encapsulates everything. But it felt like an opportunity to kind of write tangentially about the pandemic about something kind of more fun.
Yeah, instead of trying to focus on just the doom and gloom that everybody's already going through, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I find that we as musicians, we as artists, we as entertainers, you know, I say we as everything, but we as the industry for music, you have to kind of be the entertainers. You can't be down too. I mean, you can. There's music out there that is, you know, helps people
Right.
through that because they're emotional too. There's nothing wrong with that.
And
But
we've
sometimes
written
it's
some
good
of
to, yeah. And I noticed that's why I like you guys put emotions into what you do. I honestly could hear it in every song. And I've played I think I played another one of your songs recently, John Wayne, as well, which I thought was a fun song. It was fun. And tell me about that one as well.
That was one of the first ones we worked on once we came back together. At the sort of in December-ish, you know, that was when we kind of felt safe enough that everyone in the band had been vaxxed and everyone in the band's family members had been vaxxed, and we just felt like it was time to get together again. And you know, it just sort of was came out of a jam, you know, that kind of was led by one of our new band member, Kevin, on guitar. And it just it came together really organically. So we were just really excited about it. And I was excited I got to play the drums on it, which was fun.
That song has a really fun sound to it. And then the lyrics, there's basically the undertone of it is about toxic masculinity and how it fucks you up. Just being raised with toxic masculinity. It's about, you know, men just trying to never cry, even when things are just really horrible. And
it sucks. It sucks, definitely,
the
without a
monster
doubt.
turns you into, basically.
Throw on a tight lip smile and nod like a man to the other man. I'm John Wayne and I don't cry. I am just a human guy. Mistake when you asked for a salad. I deem your menu choice invalid. I'm Mocky Mock and I know food. I'm an expert human dude. Delivery, I nailed the punch, and this is the part where you laugh. I am Leto and I'm no joke. I am just a human bloke. not call my bluff. Like Tom Jane without a plan, I am just a human man.
Well, we live in definitely just a narcissistic sense of society lately, and it's been really scary. And it definitely stems from that whole not being able to just show emotions,
Yeah.
And I think the times are changing. I hope. Yeah, it's more of I hope, not just think.
Yeah.
I just hope. With all the news going on, I try to stay away from politics on the show, but lately it's just like it's so hard to avoid it. It's in our daily lives, and it's something that affects all of us, but it's great to see musicians just taking the music turn. And I wrote a song today where I was practicing today, one of my songs, How Much Longer, and I just started screaming like, what can we do? And it's just like, it's just something that it's a way that I vent. Instead of putting it online, I vent, out and when I practice or in my songs itself, and I come up with clever lyrics. And I think your guys' way of lyric writing is very clever too. This is the compliment podcast now. What would you say was the biggest challenge for SONGO? Do you have any memories of I couldn't figure out how to record this or anything like that was a challenge for each of you guys?
I know. Well, for one recent one, we did a song called Mark's Myth, which was we did the music. Paul and I wrote the music at a jam we had last year. And so we had this kind of riff, punk rock kind of riff, and I knew what I wanted the song to be about, but I really struggled with writing the lyrics. And we're trying to do a song every month, so we got to the point where the song had to come out that month because we had nothing else prepared. So I had to just kind of sit down and just hammer it out. And I really had to sit down and just be like, whatever comes out, that's it. I can't overthink it anymore. And but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it ended up being a lot more honest than I was thinking it would.
Have you heard Mark Smith? Everything he says is fucking bullshit. Every single day he's got a new bit, and I know that he's an idiot, but I can't believe the words that he has written down for me. And if you receive, he will deceive with tricks hid up his sleeve. So that's it. That's the end of Mason on the internet. Mentally I'm tired and I just can't take it, so I'm about to quit. But I can't be done if he's the one who's having all the fun. And I can't give in to men of sin who only care to win. Every cited source is illegitimate. All these guys are so completely full of it. They're mentally unfit. But I can't believe the words that he has written down for me. And it's time that we begin to see how things are gonna be.
And it's something different. I feel like you guys, you're forcing the passion to come out. You're forcing the creativity, which kind of creates the machine of creativity to turn those gears and the smoke going and the whistles blowing. Thinking of when you said that, I was like, I had to grind the song out. I think it's something like the SpongeBob episode where he's trying to write all this stuff down for the 1,000 things not to do at the stoplight. And he's staring out the window at all the distractions, everything. When he finally gets to writing it down, and it was just finally the gears start turning, It's just something so strange.
To me, that's part of the magic of this. To me, that's part of the magic of this project is that those self-imposed deadlines and restrictions can really inspire you to do better work than you would just if you just were like, well, I'll do it when I get to it and whenever I feel like
I fully agree with that.
And you don't have those long periods of, what happens with me is a writer's block comes when have a long period of not producing anything. And I think just being able to put something out all the time prevents my brain from like getting to that point. When we did John Wayne, that song was really a struggle. But once we actually like found a melody, it just started to happen, and it's kind of just snowballed from there. But it just gets easier and easier as we keep doing it.
That's why I like doing this podcast too, is lines like you just said. I'm probably going to throw that right in the beginning of the episode as the catcher, being that it's, the writer's block comes from long periods of not doing anything, writing a while. And I think that'll be good for the audience to grab. So thank you for that. Because that's just why I do this podcast, is getting stories. It doesn't matter what walk of life you are in the music field. I do just love hearing stories and hearing inspirational quotes like that. So it's perfect. Yeah, the SONGO thing is great. And I think any news on the next one, or is it's once a month? So you guys write it when the month starts? Is that how it works? Like you guys, as soon as the month starts, okay, it's still in the works. Or do you guys have
exactly.
Okay.
So we're always writing song demos and as often as we can, which right now seems to be quarterly or so. We all get together and we kind of record like about a quarter of the song, and then we go and record the overdub after that. So, back in December, we recorded about 7 songs or 7 parts of songs, which that's what we're finishing, and that's what's making up the SONGOs for this first half of the year. And then,
okay, cool.
This actually in like 2 weeks, we're getting together again to do it again, to write the material for the rest of the year. So it's not like we're starting from scratch every month, but we have done that, and we probably will do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool too, either way.
If we have a song idea that just happens that month, there's nothing stopping us from putting it out that month, as opposed to holding on to it.
That's awesome.
Later.
Yeah, in fact,
you're just letting it happen.
Probably the next one. I mean, we haven't talked about this yet, me and Paul, but I'd be interesting if the next one, maybe we could, since we're getting together in June, maybe we can write and record a song that we put out next month. Would be cool.
Definitely.
Yeah, something different. And guys, keep me posted, because I will play every time you put one out. I'll put it on the radio show, because, hey, it gives me one less song I have to worry about every month, or every week, I should say.
Cool, yeah.
So we would love to play them. So Unlikely Places, our theme, like I said, we're stuck in the internet. So having a digital band, having like the, the digital kind of like the band, and for the Catscan is the electronic side of the, so it'd be kind of cool to put it into the web verse that I'm creating. So definitely every week have a, definitely once a month we'll throw you on there as just as much as the song comes out. So it gives you guys another reason to, hey, at least we got airplay right away too.
Yeah, I love that idea. Love that.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'll help you guys out. I love it. I love the project. I think more artists, if they had a chance to actually sit down and do this, they might get some more creativity out. And I'm actually kind of inspired too. But
great.
I'll have to try. Maybe try something. I did a recording of an album in 2 hours. I mixed the whole album, recorded it, and mastered it. But it was all like just recorded on my phone, lo-fi acoustic. I mean, it wasn't fully, a lot of instruments or anything. It wasn't like crazy to do, but it was fun to do. And it was released under my actual name, because I felt that like all these years I've always released as Jeb. Finally to release as my actual name, Jeremy Edmond, it was kind of cool to release something under my own name that I can call my own. But usually most people release an album under their own name first, then make the, the David Bowie, like Ziggy Stardust personality. Right. But I was the reverse. So I wanted to finally, I guess, catch up in life, because I've been falling so behind. And it's like the Jeb character now is a brand. We're a band. And I didn't expect that either. So I definitely very inspired by, all this stuff. So a project like this, more people might be very inspired by this. And so keep it coming, guys. Keep the songs coming. We'll play them once a month. Every time we come out with a new one, I'll put it on the show. Just email me right away with an MP3, and then we'll have it out. Thank you guys so much.
the pool party. All of the sandwiches served for the special occasion observed. Passed on from bare hand to hand at the pool party. All of us birds of a feather, life is most certainly better. So fill our shared cup and raise it back up together. Come get your wings a bit wetter, and never mind the weather. Eat off our plates and things will be great. Now fainted. Wash your shaking hands, they were foolhardy.
Tuned into Mad Wasp Radio, so don't forget where you are. Don't change that dial, you don't need to anyway.